It's easy to think that we're the center of the wide universe with no movement, and all the other stars, sun, and moon, and planets are just orbiting around us. We've also may have never thought of how big or small the size of the planets may be compared to each other. The solar system was formed 4.6 billion years ago, consisting of 10 planets including the Sun and other planets like Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto that orbits around the Sun. Even though you may agree or disagree whether Pluto is a planet or not by the end, you will surely get to appreciate the planet Earth you are currently stepping on through a short solar system journey made of Play-Doh in the scale of 63,272 kilometers per centimeter. The journey will start from the Sun and move on by the order of the closest planets to the Sun.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You have arrived at the Sun. The Sun is 4.6 billion years old and is biggest in size out of all 10 planets. It is well known as the star of the solar system as it is one of the most essential energy sources for Earth and got its name from the Latin word sol. Its diameter is 1.392 million kilometers and the mass is 1.989 times 10 to the 30th power kilograms. Its distance to Earth is 149.6 million kilometers, and the equatorial radius is 696,000 kilometers. The orbital period for the Sun, which is the time it takes for one revolution around the Milky Way, is about 225 million years, with the average orbital speed taking about 251 kilometers per second. Furthermore, for sidereal rotation period, which is the solar rotation period at the equator, is 24.47 days, and the synodic rotation period, which is the time for a fixed feature on the Sun to rotate to the same apparent position as viewed from Earth, is 26.24 days. Interestingly, about 3/4 of the Sun's mass consists of hydrogen, and the other elements are helium, oxygen, carbon, neon, and iron. What's even more interesting is that though the surface temperature is 5,778 K and the coolest layer's temperature is 4,100 K, the Sun can simply allow the existence of carbon monoxide and water. Finally, the Sun's axial tilt is almost 7.5 degrees out of perpendicular to the Earth's orbital plane.
You have now arrived to Mercury. Mercury is 4.5 billion years old, and in our solar system is the second smallest planet. Mercury is named after the Roman deity Mercury, who was the messenger to the gods. Its diameter is 4,879 kilometers, and the mass is 3.285 times 10 to the 23rd kg. Its distance from the Sun is 57,910,000 kilometers, and the equatorial radius is 2,439.7 kilometers. Surprisingly, a length of a day in Mercury is, in Earth's time, 58 days, 15 hours, and 30 minutes. The orbital period, which is the time it takes for one revolution, is about 88 Earth days. The orbit inclination of Mercury is 7 degrees, with the inclination of the equator being 0.034 degrees. Mercury contains a far more diverse atmosphere than we think it would contain, as hydrogen, helium, oxygen, sodium, calcium, potassium, and water vapor, the elements we also often see in Earth, are set in Mercury. Well, in Mercury, the average temperature is 173 degrees Celsius, with the maximum temperature reaching up to 427 degrees Celsius, and a minimum temperature of 167 degrees Celsius. Finally, the axial tilt of Mercury is found to be 2.11 degrees. You have now reached Venus, which is 4.5 billion years old and is second closest to the Sun. This planet is named after the Roman goddess of love and beauty, named Venus. Venus's diameter is 12,104 kilometers and has the mass of 4.867 times 10 to the 24th kg. The length of a day in Venus in Earth's time is 116 days, 18 hours. The orbital period, which is the amount it takes for one revolution, is about 225 Earth days, and the amount for a single rotation to happen is 58.646 Earth days. Just like Mercury, Venus also has a temperature, as its temperature is 167 degrees Celsius, with the maximum temperature of 427 degrees Celsius. Venus is often called the sister planet of Earth, since the overall atmosphere consists of 96% carbon dioxide, and the size and mass is approximately similar to Earth. Finally, the tilt of the axis is 6.34 degrees to the invariable plane.
You are now heading to Earth. Earth is 4.54 billion years old and stands as the densest planet in the solar system, named after the Greek goddess called Gaia. Its diameter is 12,742 kilometers, and the mass is 5.972 times 10 to the 24th power kilograms. Its distance from the Sun is 149,600,000 kilometers, and the orbital period, which is the time it takes for one revolution around the Sun, is 365.256 days. During the one revolution, the planet moves in a counterclockwise direction, traveling at the average speed of 30 kilometers per second. The rotation period, which is also known as the length of day, takes 24 hours with respect to the Sun and rotates in the direction of west to east. Furthermore, the orbital inclination to the Sun's equator is 7.155 degrees, and the inclination to the invariable plane is 1.57 degrees. Most of Earth's atmosphere contains gases like 78.09% of nitrogen, 20.95% of oxygen, and 0.93% of argon, and 0.039% of carbon dioxide, and small amounts of other gases. In total, just counted the atmosphere's mass. Surprisingly, this is about 5.15 times 10 to the 18th power kilograms. Finally, the average surface temperature for Earth is 14 degrees Celsius, and the axial tilt is between 22.1 and 24.5 degrees. You are now heading to Mars. Mars is 4.503 billion years old and stands as the third smallest planet in the solar system after Mercury, including Pluto, and was named after the Roman god of war because it is often referred as a red planet because of its reddish appearance. Its diameter is 6,779 kilometers. The mass is 6.39 times 10 to the 23rd power kilograms. Its distance from the Sun is 227.9 million kilometers, and the orbital period, which is the time it takes for one revolution around the Sun, is 687 days. During the one revolution, the planet moves in a counterclockwise direction, traveling at the average speed of 24.077 kilometers per second. The rotation period, which is also known as the length of a day, takes 1 day and 40 minutes with respect to the Sun and rotates in the direction of west to east. Furthermore, the orbital inclination to the Sun's equator is 5.65 degrees, and the inclination to the invariable plane is 1.67 degrees. Moreover, the inclination of the equator is 25.19 degrees. Most of Mars' atmosphere contains gases like 95.97% of carbon dioxide, 1.93% of argon, 1.89% of nitrogen, 0.146% of oxygen, 0.0557% of carbon monoxide, and small amounts of other gases. Finally, the average surface temperature for Mars is negative 63 degrees Celsius. This video will continue in part 2.